INEOS have sacked the wrong manager. Thomas Tuchel is out of the equation. What exactly does this mean for the future of Eric Ten Hag? Welcome to the United of Sport. My name is Webb. Beautiful stories happening concerning Man United. First of all, it's celebration time for those of you like me who are non-Thomas Tuchel. Guess what? He's not joining Man United, not anytime soon, because he has agreed to become the next manager of the England national team. Yes, good riddance, Man United. Tuchel is not coming, but who is coming? It is Eric Ten Hag, who has returned from his holiday. And yesterday he was at Carrington. He returned to Carrington to start preparing for the team's return that is ahead of our return to Premier League action, where we do take on Brentford in the next game on the 19th of October. So, again, beautiful update that I should say. Mason Mount is reportedly almost fully fit and available for the Brentford game, back in contention. A positive update that in terms of injuries, if you consider him very important as a player, reality is he's a big earner, top earner at the club. We need him fit to compete for places and push Bruno to get the best out of him. There is got, of course, to be hope that even Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malaysia will be returning soon. That's at least what we expect. But let me get proper into the gist of the conversation. Listen, one of the legends of Manchester United, Eric Cantona, has come out to say Sir Alex Ferguson should be able to do anything he wants at the club until the day he dies. This is Eric Cantona saying that such a lack of respect, it's totally scandalous. Sir Alex Ferguson will be my boss forever, and I throw them all in a big bag of shit. That is according to Eric Cantona, responding to news that Sir Alex Ferguson has been sacked and stripped of his role as an ambassador, a global ambassador of Manchester United. Why? Because INEOS feel that it's not necessary anymore. They can't sustain his £2.16 million annual payment that he signed for from 2014 after he had resigned or retired from managing. So INEOS sat with him in a face-to-face meeting and said, you know what, fam, we've been trying to cut costs. We've been looking for all avenues to save a penny, a pound, and indeed, we don't see your role as so important in what we're trying to do. So I think, honestly, Sir Alex Ferguson could have seen this coming. He's going to stay as a non-executive director at the club, like a ceremonial, role per se. He will be allowed back to watch games, probably still sitting in the director's box, because you don't imagine Sir Alex Ferguson sitting anywhere away from the director's box if he's not on the touchline. Now, of course, certainly he is not going to be on the touchline no more. So that's what has happened. INEOS communicated to him, and it was an amicable agreement between the two parties. So it's not like there is a storm like Eric Cantona is trying to brew it. But listen, guys, this is the thing. Whereas I respect Eric Cantona with everything in me, I respect Sir Alex Ferguson. I was born when he was manager of Man United. He was manager since 1986. He's the only Man United manager, successful manager I know of. Only him. I love Sir Alex Ferguson. I loved him. I will always respect him. But listen, guys, I completely disagree with Eric Cantona. Look, fam, if Manchester United is going to move on and try to get its own identity, they have got to move on from Sir Alex Ferguson. And it's moving on from him is not in the sense of should not be allowed at Old Trafford. He should not be there. But the reality is, the more Sir Alex Ferguson is there in such positions, attending board meetings with David Gill and the likes, I'll tell you, it is going to be completely difficult for any manager who comes in to deliver, because just the thought of fitting in his shoes is going to invite a lot of pressure on you. The fans themselves, for as long as he's there, they will be comparing you to whatever success Alex Ferguson got. It is always going to be difficult. Man United should move on from Sir Alex Ferguson completely. Respect the guy, give him everything he needs to live a peaceful life for the rest of his days on this earth. But Fergie should not be a director. And what INEOS has done for me is a bold, significant step in the right direction. Look at teams like Arsenal. They've had all these great men. They've had Arsene Wenger. Look at Chelsea. They had their Jose Mourinho, who is their greatest, probably by their standards. But Arsenal, I think Arsene Wenger was the closest to what Sir Alex Ferguson was to United. This guy, immediately he leaves Arsenal, he's completely. Some people have a theory that he's actually Arsenal was named after him. That's a conspiracy theory, by the way. But here's the thing: this man was as attached to Arsenal as Sir Alex Ferguson was to Man United, because in fact his presence was part of the collateral given in by Arsenal when they were getting that loan to build the Emirates Stadium, so that they would move from Highbury. So literally, you would say Arsene Wenger built Emirates and saved Arsenal from the shame of playing at Highbury, this little small football pitch. That guy had every attachment with the club. He doesn't have to be there. I don't remember the last time I saw Arsene Wenger attending Arsenal games, watching them in the stands. It would bring so much pressure to the managers. They would never perform. Look, Sir Alex Ferguson is loved and respected, but he should be far away from the club and let the guys in charge now try to work without pressure, without that the mental block of trying to do or achieve anything close to what he did. For me, what INEOS have done is a good thing. It's a smart thing. It's going to ease the pressure, ease the expectation, and let us start a new journey, a new identity with Man United, because we've got to move on. It's never changing. We are never going back to Sir Alex Ferguson. What he did was great, but it's time now. Even the times have changed, the generations have changed. He was respected and given the respect of choosing his replacement, his successor. And he comes out and chooses David Moyes. We saw what happened with David Moyes. He was certainly involved in the hiring of all the managers that followed. Him being there up to today, for me, does not take us anywhere. So for me, to INEOS, round of applause. Now, this is not to mean that Eric Ten Hag should be off the leash. Certainly not. Eric Ten Hag, yes, returned to training, but I'm still seeing reports suggesting that if he doesn't win the next two games, he will be fired. Well, of course, we wouldn't know. But at least what we know, the calm part for me is the fact that Thomas Tuchel is no longer in the conversation. I have never considered Thomas Tuchel as the perfect manager to take Man United forward. And never mind, by the way, Tuchel would win trophies with this Man United. I have no doubt that Tuchel would win a trophy. But I don't see him as the solution, the long-term solution to the issues at Man United. Having Tuchel, I would rather stick with Eric Ten Hag than have Thomas Tuchel. So, but I never really, I never really, fancied him. So him going to join England, the England national team, is probably the best news I've had this morning. But also, it certainly eases a bit of pressure from Eric Ten Hag, because I mean, if Tuchel is not Tuchel, what are the options around? Is it Graham Potter, who I'm sure Man United supporters wouldn't really back? He seemed to be loved by INEOS, but I wouldn't really rate him like that. So, I mean, maybe Eric Ten Hag will feel like he still has his job for a little bit of time, at least until the 2026 World Cup, because Tuchel is the only manager that INEOS spoke to, and they admitted to Eric Ten Hag, but his contract with England is 18 months. That's almost as much as Eric Ten Hag's contract that he recently, signed. But yeah, that's where we are with Man United. Now I'm seeing a trend on X suggesting INEOS out. I think this is in reaction. People are reacting to INEOS' decision to put Sir Alex Ferguson out of his multi-million pounds ambassadorial role. I mean, I think people are reacting to that with emotions, but not with logic, which I think is quite silly. I think for me, like I explained earlier, I've given my reasons why I think guys are cutting costs, and Sir Alex Ferguson can be respected as a Man United legend in many ways. He doesn't really have to be there. For me, I don't see what a big problem with what they have done. And guys, don't get it twisted. I love, respect, and adore Sir Alex Ferguson, but this INEOS out, I think, is utter nonsense. It's absolute garbage. I'm not for this. I think they are putting things right, and we need to let them do it slowly but surely, because we've been in a ditch so deep that if we don't do certain things that to many may appear drastic, we might stay there for good, and that's not where we feel we belong, do we? My name is Webb. This is the United of Sport. Guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.